Stop. You haven't subscribed to the channel yet. Subscribe now. We have new stories every day. Now, let's go. Adam Carlyle stood at the kitchen island, carefully carving the turkey with methodical precision. The knife sliced through the golden brown skin with ease, releasing aromatic steam that filled the kitchen. His movements were calculated and efficient, much like his approach to business. At 39, he had built his empire from nothing, a fact his in-laws never let him forget. Need any help? Fiona Castro asked, placing a stack of linen napkins on the counter. Her loyalty had been unwavering over the years, making her more friend than assistant. I've got it under control, Adam replied, transferring the carved turkey to an ornate silver platter. But stay close tonight. Something doesn't feel right. Fiona nodded knowingly. Your in-laws arrived earlier than expected. They'd been huddled with Liz in the study for the past hour. Adam's jaw tightened, though he maintained his composure. Of course they have. The Wentworth family had never accepted him, despite his success, or perhaps because of it. Old money looked down on new money, regardless of how much more of it there was. He had married Liz Wentworth 7 years ago, believing their bond would overcome her family's snobbery. He'd been wrong. Straightening his sleeves, Adam picked up the platter, ready to play host. The dining room was a picture of Thanksgiving perfection. Crystal glasses sparkled under the chandelier's light. The long mahogany table was adorned with an autumnal centerpiece of burgundy and gold. Adam had spared no expense. The wine alone cost more than most people earned in a week. Liz glided into the room, her silk dress flowing around her slender frame. At 37, she still turned heads with her elegant beauty, though the warmth had long since faded from her eyes. Everything looks wonderful, darling, she said, placing a cold kiss on Adam's cheek. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. He caught her wrist gently. Where have you been? Just catching up with Mother. Liz pulled away, her expression unreadable. You know how she gets during the holidays. Yes, he knew exactly how Rose Wentworth got during holidays, condescending, critical, and consistently unimpressed by anything Adam provided. Right on cue, Rose entered the dining room, her spine rigid as steel. At 65, she remained formidable, her silver hair swept into a tight bun that matched her personality. Adam, she acknowledged with a curt nod. I see you've gone overboard again. Always trying to compensate, aren't you? He smiled pleasantly. Only the best for family, Rose. Spencer Wentworth sauntered in next, a tumbler of Adam's expensive scotch already in hand. Liz's younger brother had failed at every business venture he'd attempted, yet maintained the superiority complex of a successful man. Nice spread, Spencer remarked, running a finger along the edge of the table. Though I guess when you're trying to buy your way into high society, no expense is too great. Adam resisted the urge to point out that Spencer was surviving on his sister's Adam's generosity. Instead, he pulled out a chair for Camilla Lynn, Liz's cousin, who entered last. Thank you, Camilla murmured, the bitterness of a recent divorce hovering around her like a cloud. At 32, she'd already cycled through 2 marriages, each ending when the man's resources didn't meet her expectations. Adam took his seat at the head of the table. He noticed the glances exchanged between Liz and her family, the abrupt whispers that ceased whenever he looked their way. The hair on the back of his neck stood on end, a sensation that had guided him through risky business deals and betrayals. Tonight, that feeling was stronger than ever. Wine, he offered, already pouring the Bordeaux into Rose's glass. I suppose it will do, she replied, barely glancing at the label that would have impressed any sommelier. Beneath the table, Adam's hand moved to his pocket, feeling the outline of a folder he'd placed there earlier. He'd planned to wait until after dessert, but the tension in the room suggested he might need it sooner. Fiona caught his eye from the kitchen doorway and gave an almost imperceptible nod. She sensed it too. The Wentworths were planning something. Adam raised his glass. To family. he said, eyes never leaving Liz's face. She hesitated before raising her own glass. A flicker of something, guilt, anticipation, crossed her features. Dinner progressed with the usual Wentworth commentary. Nothing Adam did was quite right. The turkey was too dry, it wasn't. The gravy too thin, it wasn't. The wine should have been allowed to breathe longer. It had been decanted for hours. So, Adam, Spencer started after his third refill. How's that new development project going? The one on the east side. It's exceeding projections, Adam answered simply. He had learned not to elaborate with the Wentworths. Any success was met with skepticism, any challenge with thinly veiled pleasure. Really? I heard there were permit issues, Spencer smirked. Adam set down his fork. Nothing my team couldn't handle. Your team, Rose scoffed. Always delegating the real work. Liz cleared her throat. Mother, please. What? Rose's eyebrows arched innocently. I'm just saying what we're all thinking. Adam studied his wife's face. As usual, there was no defense forthcoming. There never was. Actually, Adam said, cutting into his turkey, I personally handled those permit issues. The commissioner and I had a productive meeting. I'm sure you greased the right palms, Spencer muttered. Adam's smile remained fixed. Unlike some people, I don't need to bribe officials to succeed. Spencer's face reddened. What's that supposed to mean? Just that honest work and true business acumen go a long way. Camilla let out a sharp, humorless laugh. Business acumen is what we're calling blind luck these days. Adam turned to her. There's no luck in tripling your investment portfolio in 5 years, Camilla. Just strategy and hard work. Concepts that might seem foreign at this table. A tense silence fell. Adam had never been this direct before. He'd always played the gracious host, absorbing their jabs with a polite smile. Tonight was different. Tonight, he was done pretending. Liz placed her napkin on the table. I think it's time. Adam's instincts flared. Time for what? Instead of answering, Liz stood up, glass in hand. The Wentworths straightened in their seats, eyes gleaming with anticipation. Liz clinked her spoon against her wineglass. I have an announcement, she declared. Adam leaned back, outwardly relaxed despite the alarm bells ringing in his head. Adam, Liz began, her voice steady. We've been together for 7 years now. 7. Interesting years. Interesting, Rose interjected with a smirk. Liz nodded. And throughout that time, you've tried to fit in with our family. You've tried to be one of us. Adam said nothing, watching her performance with growing clarity. But the truth is, Liz continued, raising her glass higher, you'll never be a Wentworth. You'll never understand our values, our traditions, our legacy. Spencer was practically vibrating with glee. Camilla's bitter expression had transformed into smug satisfaction. Rose looked like a queen about to pass a death sentence. Liz's voice grew stronger. So we took a vote. Adam's eyebrows rose. A vote? Yes, the family voted. Liz looked directly into his eyes for the first time that evening. And you're not family anymore. The Wentworths erupted into cheers and applause, clinking their glasses together as if celebrating some great victory. Their faces shone with malicious joy as they watched for Adam's reaction. He remained seated, absorbing the blow without flinching. Then, to their evident confusion, he chuckled, a soft, knowing laugh that made their celebration falter. Is that all? He asked, his voice calm. Liz blinked. What do you mean? Adam stood slowly, straightening his suit jacket. I mean, is that your big moment? Your grand betrayal? Voting me out of the family I was never truly part of. Uncertainty flickered across Liz's face. This wasn't the reaction she'd expected. Because if so, Adam continued, reaching into his jacket, then I guess you won't need this. He placed a thick manila folder on the table. The sound seemed to echo in the suddenly silent room. Liz stared at it. What is that? Open it. Adam suggested, his tone pleasant but his eyes hard as steel. With trembling fingers, Liz reached for the folder. As she flipped through the contents, her face drained of color. A strangled sound escaped her throat before she looked up at Adam in horror. "No," she whispered. "You can't do this." "What is it?" Rose demanded. "Eliza, what's in there?" Liz's voice failed her. She pushed the folder toward her mother. Rose snatched it up, reading glasses perched on her nose. As she scanned the documents, her composure cracked. This is impossible." Spencer grabbed the papers next. "What the heck? These are divorce papers, but—" His eyes widened at the next page. "Holy smokes." "Language," Rose snapped automatically, though her rebuke lacked conviction. Camilla peered over Spencer's shoulder, her gasp audible at whatever had shocked them all. Adam smiled. "Allow me to explain." He took the folder back, holding up the first document. "These are indeed divorce papers, prepared months ago when I first noticed Liz's unusual banking activity. Transferring funds to offshore accounts under her maiden name wasn't very subtle, darling." Liz's face contorted. "You were spying on me?" "Protecting my assets," Adam corrected. "Just as you were trying to protect yours before leaving." Next, he held up the following document. "This is the deed to this house, solely in my name. Liz never signed the joint ownership papers I misplaced last year." Rose stood up, her chair scraping the floor. "That's fraud." "No, that's carelessness on Liz's part," Adam replied. "Always read before you sign. Isn't that what you taught her?" She signed an acknowledgement declining co-ownership. "Perfectly legal." He continued through the stack. "Here we have the titles to all 3 cars, the vacation property in Aspen, the boat, every last one solely owned by me or by my corporation." Spencer lunged across the table, but Adam stepped back smoothly, causing Spencer to sprawl across the turkey and gravy. "And the best part," Adam said, holding up the final document while Spencer struggled to write himself, "is this little certificate showing that I now own controlling interest in Wentworth Industries." The silence that followed was absolute. "That's impossible," Rose whispered. "The family trust was used as collateral by your son for his latest failed venture," Adam finished. "A venture funded by a dummy corporation called Carlyle Holdings." Spencer's face went from red to white. You're JTC Capital." Adam smiled coldly. Surprise. Liz found her voice at last, releasing a scream as she launched herself at Adam. "You bastard. You planned this all along." Adam caught her wrists, holding her at bay. "No, Liz. You planned this, your betrayal, your exit strategy. I just planned better." He released her, and she stumbled back, breathing hard. "Dinner's over," Adam announced, adjusting his cufflinks. "I want every last one of you out of my house by midnight." "You can't throw us out," Rose sputtered. "Eliza is your wife." "Soon to be ex-wife," Adam corrected. "And this is my house. You're all trespassers as of this moment." Spencer, humiliated and covered in gravy, tried to salvage his dignity by throwing a punch at Adam. It was a clumsy telegraph move that Adam easily sidestepped, sending Spencer crashing into the china cabinet. The sound of shattering crystal punctuated his groans. "Add that to your tab," Adam said dryly. Camilla began gathering her belongings, apparently sensing this battle was lost. Rose, however, stood her ground. "We built you, Adam Carlyle. We introduced you to the right people. We made you acceptable in society. Without the Wentworth name, you'd still be a nobody from nowhere." Adam stepped closer, his voice low and dangerous. "I built myself, Rose. You were just along for the ride, drinking my wine and spending my money while sneering at me. Those days are over." "We won't leave," Rose declared, chin raised defiantly. "Then I'll have you removed." Adam pulled out his phone and dialed. "Security. Mr. Carlyle here. I have intruders who need to be escorted from the premises." Liz's face crumpled as reality sank in. "Adam, please, we can talk about this." He looked at his wife, the woman who had just publicly humiliated him, and felt nothing but cold satisfaction. There's nothing to talk about. You voted, remember. Within 20 minutes, private security arrived. The Wentworths protested loudly. Rose threatening lawsuits, Spencer throwing another ill-aimed punch and being restrained, Camilla crying theatrically. They refused to leave voluntarily, so Adam made another call. This is a private matter. Rose told the officers. This is my daughter's home. The officer checked property records on his tablet. According to this, the property is owned solely by Adam Carlyle. Ma'am, if he wants you to leave, you need to leave. This isn't over, Liz hissed as she was escorted to the door, her perfect makeup streaked with angry tears. Adam watched from the foyer, unmoved by her distress. You're right. It's not. But it is for tonight. From the grand entrance of his Dorchester estate, Adam watched the Wentworth family being escorted into the cold November night. Their expensive cars, now technically his, rumbled down the gravel driveway and disappeared into darkness. Only when they were gone did he allow himself a moment of vengeful triumph. He'd endured years of their condescension and thinly veiled insults, years of their attempts to undermine his business and his marriage. And now, in one perfectly executed strike, he had taken everything. Fiona appeared at his side, holding 2 glasses of scotch. Well, that was quite a Thanksgiving. Adam accepted the drink with a nod of thanks. It's just the beginning. The morning after Thanksgiving dawned clear and cold. Adam stood at the wall of windows in his home office, watching the sun rise over the frost-covered grounds. He'd slept better than he had in years, the bed feeling larger and more comfortable without Liz beside him. His phone buzzed on the desk, a text from Fiona. On my way with coffee and a morning briefing. The Wentworths are already making moves. Adam smiled. He'd expected nothing less. When Fiona arrived, she didn't bother with pleasantries. She set down a cardboard tray with 2 coffees and opened her tablet. Spencer emptied his bank account at 8:00 a.m., she reported. Rose has called her lawyer 7 times since midnight. Liz has been on the phone with American Express, trying to use the cards you canceled. Adam sipped his coffee. And the media? Nothing yet, but it's coming, Fiona replied, meeting his eyes. They won't go down without a fight, Adam. I'm counting on it, he said, turning on his computer. Have our PR team ready. When the Wentworths start spreading lies, we need to be prepared with the truth. Fiona hesitated. Are you sure you want to do this? You could let them save face, negotiate a quiet divorce. Adam shook his head, expression hardening. They didn't give me that option. They planned to humiliate me in front of their entire family. They would have dragged my name through the mud, regardless. They declared war. I'm simply better armed. Across town, the Wentworths had gathered at Rose's ancestral mansion, a Georgian estate that had been in the family for generations. Unlike Adam's modern wealth, the Wentworth fortune had risen and fallen over decades, leaving them with more prestige than capital. Rose paced the drawing room while Spencer nursed a hangover and bruised pride on the antique sofa. He had a bandage over a cut on his forehead from the night before. Camilla scrolled through her phone, checking social media. Liz paced the perimeter of the room like a caged tiger. He can't do this, Rose repeated for the 10th time. The family trust was protected. It was ironclad. Spencer avoided her gaze. There might have been a clause, something about using shares as collateral. Rose stopped pacing. What did you do? Before Spencer could answer, Liz stormed into the room, her hair pulled back severely, her face bare of makeup. She slapped a credit card statement onto the coffee table. He's cut me off, she announced, her voice tight with rage. Every account, every card, all of it. I have exactly 1 credit card left with a limit of $10,000. 10,000. That's nothing, Spencer exclaimed. Your monthly shopping bill is more than that. Liz shot him a venomous look. I'm aware. Rose sank into an armchair, looking every one of her 65 years. We need to think strategically. Adam has won the first battle, but not the war. What war? Camilla asked. He owns everything. Not our connections, Rose replied, straightening her spine. Not our social standing. Not our reputation. Spencer sat up, wincing at the movement. We destroy him publicly. Make everyone see what kind of man he really is. Liz nodded slowly. He's always been sensitive about his image, about being accepted. Then that's where we hit him, Rose decided. Spencer, call your friend at the Tribune. Liz, start contacting your social circle. Camilla, get on social media. We'll make sure no door in high society ever opens for Adam Carlyle again. Back at his estate, Adam worked through lunch, reviewing documents with his legal team via video conference. He'd anticipated the Wentworths' response and prepared accordingly. Mr. Carlyle, his lead attorney said, the prenuptial agreement is solid. However, Mrs. Carlyle might claim coercion, or that she didn't understand what she was signing. She understood, Adam replied, voice firm. Liz has an MBA. Her family has been in business for generations. The poor confused wife act won't fly. The attorney nodded. Even so, be prepared for a public battle. Divorces like this rarely stay private. After the call, Adam stood and stretched. The house felt unusually calm without the undercurrent of Liz's dissatisfaction. He'd thought he would miss her, but he felt nothing except relief. The performance of their marriage had been exhausting. His phone rang, a number he didn't recognize. Mr. Carlyle, this is David Lorne from the Tribune. I understand you're separating from your wife, and no comment at this time. Adam replied, ending the call. Within hours, his phone buzzed constantly with calls from journalists, acquaintances, and business associates. The Wentworths had wasted no time spinning their narrative. Fiona forwarded him the first article. Tech entrepreneur, accused of manipulating Harris. The ugly divorce of Adam Carlyle. The piece quoted sources close to the family, claiming Adam had tricked Liz into signing away her rights, that he'd been controlling and isolating her. A text came in from Spencer. How does it feel to be exposed as the fraud you are? Adam didn't respond. Instead, he called Fiona. It's time for phase 2, he told her. Release the recordings. 3 hours later, Fiona sent him a new link. The headline read, EXTLUSIV. The real Wentworths revealed in secret recordings. The article featured audio clips from Adam's estate, conversations the Wentworths never realized were recorded. Spencer's voice, slurred from expensive scotch. Adam thinks he belongs here. It's pathetic. New money is always so desperate for validation. Rose, cold and clear. We'll tolerate him as long as Eliza needs us to. Once she's secured enough assets, she can leave him and come back to the family properly. Worst of all, Liz herself. Of course I don't love him, but his money makes him tolerable. For now. The recordings were damning, not just for what they said about Adam, but for what they revealed about the Wentworths themselves. Adam's phone rang again, this time from Liz. You jerk, she hissed. Those recordings are illegal. Dorchester is a one-party consent state. Adam replied calmly. And since it's my house and my security system, there's plenty of consent. But we both know this isn't about legality, Liz. It's about truth. You're ruining us. No, you ruined yourselves. I'm just making sure everyone knows it. He ended the call as another came in, this time from a board member of a charity Rose was involved with. Adam, these allegations are concerning, the woman began. Which ones? Adam asked. The ones painting me as a villain, or the ones revealing the Wentworths' true colors? Both, frankly. This public spectacle is exactly what our organization doesn't need. Adam had prepared for this. I understand completely. That's why I've decided to double my annual contribution and step down from the board until this matter is resolved. A startled pause. Double. Yes, the Foundation's work is too important to be compromised by personal drama. By the end of the day, Adam made similar calls to every organization where he might encounter the Wentworths. In each case, he increased his financial support while temporarily stepping back, a move that made him appear both generous and responsible. Meanwhile, the Wentworths faced a different reception. At an exclusive charity gala, Rose found her usual table reassigned. The slight was unmistakable. She'd been moved from her prime spot near the stage to a table by the kitchen doors. "This must be some mistake," she told the event coordinator. "No mistake, Mrs. Wentworth," the young woman replied, not meeting her eyes. "We had some last-minute changes in sponsorship levels." Rose understood the implication immediately. Adam Carlyle. Throughout the evening, Rose noticed how conversations stopped when she approached. Old friends suddenly needed fresh drinks when she drew near. In the ladies' room, she overheard two women. "Did you hear those recordings? Absolutely dreadful. The way they talked about Adam, after all he's done for that family. I always suspected Rose Wentworth was a snob, but this is shocking." Rose emerged from the stall, chin held high, pretending not to hear. The women fell silent, exchanging guilty glances in the mirror. Spencer fared no better. His calls to business contacts went unreturned. His credit cards were declined at his favorite restaurants. His girlfriend of 3 months stopped taking his calls. Liz found herself removed from the committee organizing the Winter Ball, an event she'd once chaired. "We just felt, given the circumstances," the society president explained delicately, "that it might be best if you took time away from public roles." The message was clear. The Wentworths had become toxic. In the days following Thanksgiving, the conflict escalated. Adam coordinated with his legal team, monitoring the Wentworths' desperate attempts to salvage their reputation. Then, a week after the split, Fiona brought him news that made him laugh aloud. "Spencer tried to access his office at Wentworth Industries this morning," she said. "His key card was deactivated." Adam nodded. "As the majority shareholder, I made a few organizational changes. They'd lost board support." Fiona nodded. "After the recordings went public, no one wants to be associated with them." Adam remained vigilant. Wounded enemies were dangerous, and he expected a counterattack. Soon, it arrived in the form of a text from an unknown number, a blurry photo of him and Fiona having lunch, taken with a telephoto lens, captioned, "Is this why your marriage really failed?" "They're implying we're having an affair," Fiona said, frowning. "Classic desperation move. Let them waste their energy," Adam replied. But rumors spread quickly. By the next day, tabloid websites were running stories about Adam's assistant with benefits. Liz seized the opportunity, giving a tearful interview claiming she'd suspected for a long time, but had tried to save her marriage. Adam watched the interview with Fiona in his office, both silent until Liz dabbed at her eyes and whimpered about her shattered trust. "She's good," Fiona admitted. "I almost believed her for a second." "That's Liz's talent," Adam replied. "She's been playing the victim since prep school." He turned off the TV. "Fortunately, we prepared for this too." He sent a short email to his PR team. "Release Package B." Hours later, the narrative flipped again. Security footage of Liz entering a private conference room with a man who was definitely not her husband, date-stamped photos of Liz at a New York hotel, credit card statements for jewelry shipped to a secret address. The final blow was an affidavit from the man himself, a tennis instructor, confirming a 2-year relationship with details only an intimate partner could know. The phone calls started again, this time for Liz. Adam didn't gloat. He didn't need to. The evidence spoke for itself. That evening, Adam's security camera showed Spencer at the front gate, clearly intoxicated and shouting into the intercom. "Come out and face me, Carlyle." Spencer slurred. "You think you can destroy my family and get away with it?" Adam sighed and pressed the intercom button. "Go home, Spencer. You're drunk. Don't tell me what to do. You nobody. You think buying your way in makes you one of us. You'll always be trash. Adam's finger hovered over the button to call security. Vincent, Spencer, was making the spectacle. Neighbors might notice. Adam tried reason one last time. I'll have a car drive you home. Spencer, don't make this worse. Worse. Spencer laughed bitterly. You've taken everything. My job, my reputation, my future. You did that yourself. Adam replied. Now go home before you're arrested for trespassing. Spencer kicked the gate, hurting himself more than the iron. He staggered back to his car. Adam immediately called the police. There's a man who's clearly intoxicated, about to drive from my property. Please intercept him before he hurts someone. 10 minutes later, Spencer was pulled over less than a mile from Adam's estate. The subsequent DUI made the local news by morning. Rose called next, her voice tight with fury. Haven't you done enough? She demanded. I didn't force Spencer to drive drunk. Adam pointed out. You've systematically destroyed my family. Rose's voice shook. Isn't that sufficient revenge for one misguided dinner? One dinner, Adam repeated, incredulous. You and your family spent years using me and planning to discard me. This isn't about a dinner, Rose. It's about consequences. Consequences. You wouldn't know justice if it slapped you in the face. You're nothing but a thug in an expensive suit, using your money to bully your betters. Adam's voice cooled. My betters are watching their social standing crumble, because everyone now knows their true nature. My betters are facing bankruptcy because they mismanaged their legacy. My betters are discovering actions have repercussions. Check your mail, Rose. There's something you should see. He ended the call, knowing exactly what she'd find in the certified letter delivered that morning. Notice that the Wentworth family estate, leveraged as collateral for one of Spencer's failed ventures, was under foreclosure. The home, in their family for 6 generations, would be sold to cover the debt. It was a decisive blow, one that struck at the heart of the Wentworth identity. Adam felt no pleasure, only a cold satisfaction that the scales had finally balanced. They had tried to take everything from him. Now they would know what that felt like. As the sun set on another day of war, Adam stood at his window, gazing across the Dorchester estate he built through relentless work. No inherited fortune, no established connections, just intelligence, strategy, and unwavering resolve. The same qualities that made him a business success were serving him well in this personal battle. The Wentworths had always underestimated him, seeing only a nouveau riche outsider desperate for their approval. They never saw the mind behind the accommodating smile. That was their fatal mistake. His phone buzzed with another call from Liz. He declined without hesitation. The time for words was over. All that remained was the inexorable dismantling of everything the Wentworths held dear. Their status, their influence, their identity. Just as they had planned to do to him. 2 weeks after Thanksgiving, Adam sat across from Fiona at a quiet corner table in his favorite restaurant. They'd been seated in a private alcove, away from curious eyes. The quarterly projections look good, Fiona said, sliding a tablet over. Despite the Wentworths' attempts to shake investor confidence, our stock is steady. Adam nodded, reviewing the figures. And Wentworth Industries. A faint smile curved Fiona's lips. Down 12% since you became majority shareholder. The board is nervous. 3 members have asked for private meetings. Schedule them for next week. Adam said. Let them sweat a bit longer. Fiona made a note. The divorce is officially underway. Liz was served yesterday. How did she take it? The process server said, and I quote, like a cat tossed into a bathtub. Adam allowed himself a small smile. Sounds right. The waiter delivered their meals, and talk paused until they were alone again. They won't give up, Fiona said. They're wounded, but still dangerous. I'm counting on it. Their desperation makes them sloppy, Adam answered. Later that afternoon, Adam met with James Harper, a key investor, at a private club. James looked worried, offering Adam a thumb drive. "This arrived at my office," James said. "Anonymous package, no return address." "What's on it?" "Emails, documents, all forged, meant to show you used questionable tactics to get control of Wentworth Industries. They look authentic enough to raise doubts." Adam pocketed the drive. "Thank you for the warning. And your loyalty." James nodded. "Be careful. These people play dirty." "So do I," Adam replied. "I just play smarter." That evening, Adam convened his legal and security teams. The forgeries were convincing but contained telltale flaws that experts could identify. "We need to address this publicly," his lead attorney advised. "Issue a statement before too many investors get spooked." Adam nodded. "Draft something. Meanwhile, find out who's behind these forgeries. The Wentworths aren't capable of this themselves. They must have hired someone." His head of security agreed. "We'll track the packages, analyze digital signatures. Whoever did this left tracks." While Adam prepared his defenses, the Wentworths pushed their smear campaign further. Manipulated photos emerged, suggesting Adam was involved in shady deals. Forged text messages hinted at bribes. Anonymous tips to regulators alleged tax improprieties. Adam handled each attack calmly, but his anger grew with every lie. They were no longer merely tarnishing his reputation. They were attempting to destroy the business he built from scratch. Another article appeared. Fiona approached him with her tablet. "They're claiming you bribed officials to fast-track permits for the Riverside development." Adam barely glanced at the screen. "The same permits that took 18 months and an environmental study. Facts won't matter to them, but they'll matter to the authorities." He called Preston at the Securities Commission, sending evidence of wire transfers from Wentworth accounts to known document forgers, plus metadata proving the forgeries were created days ago, not years ago. By the next day, the commission cleared Adam of wrongdoing and opened an investigation into the Wentworths instead. Yet the flood of complaints they filed meant the commission had to investigate each one, even the frivolous ones. "We'll handle it," Adam told Preston. "Thank you for being thorough." Despite this victory, Fiona noted the harm to Adam's image. "Rumors have been swirling for weeks," she said. "We need a stronger counter-narrative." Adam nodded grimly. "It's time to release the full recordings. All of them. All of them. Even the ones from the charity events." He nodded again. "Everything. Let the world see how they really view the causes they supposedly champion." Releasing the full trove of recordings caused a media firestorm. The timing couldn't have been worse for the Wentworths. Their attempts to smear Adam were overshadowed by the public's outrage at their own words. The charitable boards Rose belonged to began dropping her one by one. "People are done giving them the benefit of the doubt," Fiona observed. "They look like hypocrites." Adam didn't celebrate. This wasn't about victory. It was about consequences. The Wentworths had started a war, and now they faced the price for their actions. At Wentworth Industries, stock plummeted 40%. Clients reconsidered contracts, and investors pulled out. The board convened an emergency meeting, which Adam, as majority shareholder, attended. He listened to their grim analysis. The Wentworth name had become a liability. The chairman slid a list of proposed new CEOs across the table. Adam reviewed it, then calmly outlined his own plan. Merge Wentworth Industries with his corporation, preserve jobs, but retire the Wentworth brand from all public-facing materials, and no role for any member of the Wentworth family in the new structure. The board voted unanimously. With that, Wentworth Industries ceased to exist as it had for generations. The company would continue, the employees would keep their jobs, but the Wentworth legacy was finished. Liz called afterward, voice shaking. "It's not too late to stop this, Adam. We can still find a path that doesn't destroy everything." He sighed. "You had that chance before you humiliated me. Now it's time for consequences. We're ruined," she pleaded. "Mother might lose the house. Spencer can't even pay his rent. What I want," Adam said quietly, is for actions to have repercussions. You made your choices. This is the outcome. You're a cold bastard, Liz whispered. I learned from the best, he replied, ending the call. That evening, Adam's security cameras showed Spencer returning, drunk again, ranting at the gate. This time, Adam didn't hesitate. He called the police immediately. Another DUI arrest was better than a tragic accident. The next morning, the Tribune ran a comprehensive expose. The Wentworth conspiracy, how an old money family tried to destroy a self-made man. It compiled every recording, email, and document in a single narrative that left no room for doubt. The Wentworths' motivations and betrayals were laid bare. By noon, Adam's phone was buzzing with calls from associates eager to distance themselves from the Wentworths. Fiona handled most of them, forwarding only the important ones. James Harper called. Heck of a story in the Tribune, he said. Some say you went too far. Adam's tone was measured. They declared war. I responded in kind. James chuckled. They got what they deserved. That evening, Rose issued a half-hearted statement through her lawyer, denying certain allegations and claiming others were taken out of context. No one believed her. Liz remained silent, apparently learning that sometimes saying nothing is best. Surprisingly, Spencer gave a short interview from rehab, admitting, my family targeted Adam unfairly. We're paying the price now. I'm focusing on my recovery. Camilla Lynn posted on social media, trying to distance herself from the inner circle, claiming she'd been misled. No one bought it. A week later, Adam gave a brief statement of his own. I wish them all well. My focus is on the future. By then, nearly every last piece of the Wentworth power structure had crumbled. Adam's business soared, his professional reputation not merely surviving but thriving due to his firm, Strategic Response. 6 months later, Adam found himself in a small rundown cafe in Kingsport, grabbing a quick coffee after a meeting. The vinyl booths were cracked, the tables chipped. Nothing like the upscale places he usually visited, but it served decent coffee in thick ceramic mugs. Movement in the corner caught his eye. A woman sat by the window, gazing at a half-empty cup. He recognized the posture before the face. Liz. She was almost unrecognizable, her once glamorous hair limp, dark roots showing several inches, her designer wardrobe replaced by worn jeans and a fraying sweater. Adam considered leaving, but she looked up, their eyes locked. Recognition flared in her gaze, shock, embarrassment, then desperate hope. He took his coffee from the counter, and after a moment's hesitation, walked over. Liz, he said, stopping at her booth. She stared. Adam, I didn't expect to see you here. Business in the area, he said. You look. He couldn't lie. You look rough. She let out a bitter laugh. I know. Silence fell. Adam almost excused himself, but she spoke again, voice trembling. Please sit, just for a minute. Against his better judgment, he slid into the seat across from her. Up close, he saw the dark circles under her eyes, the lines of stress around her mouth. How have you been? He asked neutrally. What does it look like? Liz's laugh had an edge. I'm in a studio apartment, working as a sales clerk at a discount store. My credits maxed out. My car was repossessed. Spencer is, well, Spencer, mother's in assisted living. And I am this. Adam said nothing, sipping his coffee. He hadn't come for her life story. Mother always said you'd leave us high and dry, Liz murmured. But I never believed. Her voice trailed off. Then she lifted her gaze. I need help, Adam. There it was, the real reason for her sob story. What kind of help? A loan, she said quickly. Just enough to get on my feet again. A better apartment, interview clothes, a chance to start over. I'll pay you back, I swear. Start over, Adam echoed. Like the chance you planned to give me after you tried to take half my assets. That kind of fresh start. Liz flinched. I apologized. I was listening to Mother and Spencer. I was confused, angry, and yet you went through with it. Adam pointed out. You publicly humiliated me at Thanksgiving. You declared me unworthy. Liz's voice broke. I was wrong, so wrong. Please, Adam, I have nowhere else to go. Adam regarded the face he'd once loved. Now it was haggard, pleading, stripped of the veneer of wealth and privilege. Slowly, a cold smile curved his lips. You voted me out, he said softly. Enjoy the consequences. Liz's face crumpled. Adam, please. But Adam was already standing. He walked away without another word, her quiet sobs fading behind him. Outside, the afternoon sun seemed brighter, the air fresher. The final chapter was closed. 1 year later, Adam stood on the terrace of his penthouse, overlooking Kingsport's skyline. The monuments and government buildings glowed against the twilight. Life had transformed. The merger of the two companies was flourishing, the new entity valued at double either alone. Adam's reputation had not only recovered, it had soared. He gazed at the city, feeling calm. Fiona joined him at the railing with a glass of champagne. Penny for your thoughts? She asked. Just enjoying the view, Adam said. And the quiet. You've earned both. Fiona smiled, clinking her glass against his. To a life without leeches. He chuckled softly. A life without leeches. Beyond the terrace doors, a small gathering of trusted colleagues celebrated the first anniversary of the merger. Just a few close associates who had proven their loyalty. Unlike those old social events orchestrated by Liz and her family, this guest list was genuine. The board is thrilled, Fiona said. Jenkins called you visionary. Adam chuckled. High praise from a man who counts paper clips. Well-deserved praise. Fiona insisted. You've taken two dying entities and created something stronger than ever. In the distance, the city lights blinked on, one by one. Adam considered Fiona's words. Any news of the Wentworths? She shrugged. Spencer is out on the West Coast. Rose is still in assisted living. And Liz, she's apparently managing an art gallery. Doing better, from what I hear. You keep tabs on them. Adam observed. Old habits, she said. Wanted to be sure they weren't plotting something new. They no longer have the will or resources. Adam said. That war is over. They stood quietly, sipping their drinks, until Fiona turned to him again. Do you ever miss it? The life you had with Liz, the old society world. Adam considered, then shook his head. No, I never truly belonged there. It was a constant performance, always seeking approval. It's exhausting to live that way. And now, he gestured inside, to the people who truly cared about him and his work. Now I'm surrounded by those who value substance over appearances, merit over connections. It's more authentic. Fiona smiled. A better life. Without question. He finished his drink. Shall we get back? James wants to talk about the new project. They moved to the terrace doors. Adam paused for one last look over the city. The place once shaped by the Wentworths' arrogance was now a stage for his own vision. Their rejection had become his liberation. Inside, as the celebration continued, Adam raised his glass to his colleagues. To new beginnings, he said, and to lessons learned along the way. They echoed his toast. Some victories didn't require celebration, only acknowledgement, then moving on. And Adam Carlyle was more than ready to move on. 6 more months passed. Late one afternoon, a friend suggested Adam consider a run for local office, but he declined with a polite smile. Too much performance. Too many compromises. Still, the idea of shaping policy intrigued him, perhaps someday when the old wounds were fully healed. For now, he was content with the life he'd built upon the ruins of betrayal. His company thrived, his philanthropic foundation expanded, and his days held purpose instead of pretense. The Wentworths' attempt to destroy him had freed him from their influence, leaving him stronger than ever. He sipped his scotch, alone on the terrace as twilight settled, the city below humming with possibilities. Their final Thanksgiving had not ended his story, it had begun a new one. In that last gathering, they had tried to cast him out, never grasping that, in doing so, they were setting him free. Adam Carlyle gazed out at the lights, letting the cool night air fill his lungs. He felt neither triumph nor regret, only peace, and in the quiet glow of the evening, that was more than enough.